now listening to Philly Sports Pulse with Jesse Sharon and Adam Den, powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
Well, how about that? We got a new intro for Philly Sports Pulse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Philly Sports Pulse. I am Jesse Sharon. I will be joined by Dalton Holland, CEO and founder of 302 Birds, in just a short little bit. We've got a great show for you guys. We have the Phillies taking on the New York Mets. We talk about Andrew Painter and him being sent down to AAA. Adolis Garcia is out for the year. The Eagles are rumored again to be trading for Max Crosby. What else is new? And the Sixers and the Flyers drafts are right around the corner. So let's get into it. And before we get into it, I want to let me know, what do you guys think of the new intro? There's definitely, I think, some adjustments to be made in my opinion, but I'm pretty proud of it. I'm proud of my guy Adam Den. Unfortunately, he could not be here today. He is doing something for Delaware Online, a breaking news sort of deal. I'm not exactly sure what is going on. He's there for whenever breaking news happens for Delaware Online, and he's there to write about it. He's also covering the FIFA World Cup, which is really awesome. He'll be there for the Brazil game, which is incredible. I'm very proud of him for all of that. But yeah, appreciate that, Dalt. And yeah, so let's get right into it. The Phillies taking on the New York Mets, and it's a huge series. And we start with Aaron Nola. Unfortunately, I've got the game on in the background. Aaron Nola has not had the best starts. It is currently 2-1 Mets in the top of the second inning. Alec Boehm chipped into that lead, and I won't lie, it's a little surprising that Aaron Nola is doing what he's doing. I've really thought, if you're going to lose the series, I really thought it was going to be because of Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler has not the greatest ERA. It's not bad, but it's not the best ERA that you would expect against the New York Mets. It's about a 3.34 ERA. I do expect, well, I was going to say I expect Painter to do some damage, but he's not starting. It is Christopher Sanchez. It is Christopher Sanchez for game 2 after Aaron Nola. So if this does end up being a loss, I feel like Christopher Sanchez is going to get us right back into good graces, because Christopher Sanchez is the greatest pitcher in the National League right now. Yes, I know he had a bad start against the Milwaukee Brewers, but I still take him over Jacob Mizorowski any day of the week. I'm sorry, it's not close. I know Mizorowski just literally threw a complete game against us the other day. Maybe I'm delusional. That changeup, baby, it's so sexy. It is so sexy, and I take that over 100-mile-an-hour fastball that potentially can't be located any day of the week. So Phillies right now down 2-1, second inning. Alec Boehm chipped into the lead a little bit. And Alec Boehm is a guy that has definitely turned it around for the Philadelphia Phillies in the last couple of weeks, especially with a guy like Aiden Miller, who is out for the foreseeable future. That is not the only injury that has been plaguing the Philadelphia Phillies as of recently. We'll get into the Adolis Garcia injury in just a little bit, but it's a little bit of a spoiler. But Alec Boehm, a guy that started off really bad to start 2026. He was a guy that was arguably the worst third baseman in the entire league, and people still wanted him gone. The argument can be made that he still could be traded because this Phillies offense, especially the right-handed batters, is not good. Adolis Garcia was not living up to the hype. We'll put it that way. JT Realmuto, absolutely ridiculous contract, has been bad this year. We talk about Trey Turner. Trey Turner, yes, he had a double in his return, but Trey Turner has had one of the worst years of his career as a Philadelphia Philly. So the right-handed bats are still an issue. That being said, I still have that comment up. That being said, I still have concerns about the rest of the Phillies, not just rotation, but team as a whole. So I ask you folks, what do you think the biggest need is for the Philadelphia Phillies? Is it pitching? Is it hitting? Is it relievers? Because arguably, a lot of these can be, could be, or a lot of these can be argued that it is the number one issue. The hitting, like I mentioned, it is one of the worst in Major League Baseball, right-handed batters specifically. But you look at that bullpen, it is not great. Tanner Banks literally just got sounded down today. Jose Alvarado has not been what we needed coming back from a suspension. He has been rough. Brad Keller has not been what we anticipated coming from the Cubs, having a great year. And he comes into Philadelphia, and he's been really, he's been mid. He hasn't been bad, and I think he's been better as of late. But overall, I feel like he's been mid for the Phillies, and that has really burned him in critical situations. This is not like, it's a blowout, and he's making it from an 8-0 ball game to an 8-2. Don Mattingly's putting him in when it's like 8-6, and I mean, maybe that's on Don. I don't know. I'm still a Donnie baseball guy through and through. As Edmundo Sosa hits a triple to center field, that's a beautiful thing. That maybe will tie things up for the Phillies. But I still think that these Phillies relievers have been not great. So I wonder, what do you do? We talked about on the Phillies post-game show, we talked about potentially putting Andrew Painter in the bullpen. Now Andrew Painter is now in AAA. So what do you do there? That complicates things for the starting pitching aspect, which the bottom of it has not been solid. I'm looking at you, Andrew Painter. He is back in AAA, back in Lehigh Valley, back in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And so I wonder if potentially, and hear me out here, if trading Mick Abel and potentially, I say potentially, trading Taijuan Walker was a mistake. Mick Abel, especially right now with the Twins, he's got about a 3.9 ERA. That is very solid for a fifth starter in the rotation. And otherwise, the starting rotation has been excellent. Sanchez has been awesome. Wheeler has been awesome. Luzardo had a great start his last time around. Nola, well, we'll see how he goes the rest of the game here today. But Nola's a guy that usually lets up a bomb and then he settles down. Now, that bomb can be with the bases loaded, and it can result in a grand slam. But I still think that, listen, Aaron Nola has had his bright spots, especially in the summer months. He's been one of your more solid pitchers in even months. It's the odd months that get him for some reason, which I do not understand in the slightest. But Aaron Nola, in his career as a Philly, has been actually pretty solid, and I would venture to say that I trust him in a playoff spot, which is potentially a ridiculous statement, but he's actually been really solid. And I mean, you want to talk about him? The only problem is the pitching. It is the starting pitching. Andrew Painter has been really, really bad in his young career, and I think that he will certainly. I won't say certainly, but to me, I have no doubt that he will get it together. You look at Roy Halladay, and Billy brought up a good point in one of his or not Billy, it was Roth, Steve Roth. He called into the main show last night, and I mean, Roy Halladay, everybody knows he's one of the best pitchers in Phillies franchise history. And I mean, he was with the Blue Jays as well. He actually started his career with the Blue Jays, and he was actually sent down as, I believe, a Blue Jay. He let me look it up. But he came back before the Blue Jays, and he was really solid. Sorry, I did not come completely prepared here. Okay. Yeah, he was sent down in 2001, and he had a 10 ERA. And he had a problem with his delivery, and he readjusted, and he redefined his three-quarter arm angle. He developed that signature sinker, and led to a resurgence in 2002 when he returned to the majors and earned his first All-Star selection. And then look what happens. He ends up getting traded to the Phillies, and he has a no-hitter, 2 no-hitters, and he's become one of the greatest pitchers of all time. That being said, look who is here. Dalton Holland. Welcome on in, dude.
How are you?
Pretty good. Wanted to get your take on something in Eagles land. Max Crosby. The rumors, I feel like, keep flying with this guy. And it's tough because a lot of these rumors have surrounded Jalen Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles really want to give up Nakobe Dean and not Jalen Carter. Would you trade for Max Crosby, Jalen Carter?
Straight up, just straight up one-on-one?
Well, with some picks.
With some picks, probably not. Really good question. Look, a lot of people say with Jalen Carter, off the field concerns. I get it. For God's sake, week 1 last year, I wore his jersey and he spit on a guy and got kicked out of the game. So I understand the concern about character, right? I get where fans are coming from and where the organization is probably coming from, right? Because that is probably a legit thing that the team is weighing right now. Do we need a guy out there that's going to be spitting on a player? Even if he necessarily wasn't wrong, I need him to have more awareness, more common sense. You know what I mean? Because we need you in that game. So I thought about it with Max Crosby, right? Okay, what's the trade-off character-wise? Are you getting some... And it's not like Max Crosby is the best character either. You know what I mean? No disrespect to him, but he's not got the cleanest record with teams either. And I don't mean like crime. I mean like drama off the field, antics, contract holdouts, stuff like that. These all get weighed into a decision when bringing back a guy. So, like, there's a reason Brandon Graham has been able to come back year after year. It's because he keeps it easy for the organization off the field too. And, that's worked until last year, I should say, because when he had the comments about AJ and Jalen, now you see Brandon Graham is probably not going to be on the team next year. But when he made it easy, it worked out. So when considering this, the main thing I thought about was, okay, does Crosby have that much of a better character than Jalen Carter that it's worth sacrificing age, right? Because you look at Jalen Carter and he is by far one of, if not the most promising young defensive talent in the NFL. Definitely in the NFC, in my opinion, but in the NFL. So looking around, it's like, all right, well, why are we going to give up a guy that's younger, got a bigger, better, brighter future for somebody that, I don't know, in my opinion, is good, but probably will only be good for a year or two. And if we don't win a Super Bowl, this guy's going to be wanting to go to the next team because his clock is ticking too. So if the Eagles could trade Jalen Carter for Max Crosby straight up, I would maybe consider it, but I probably still would not do that even. With some picks, hell no, I want to do it. I think that the Eagles have a way better prospect in Jalen Carter, even though they have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. They have two defensive tackles. It would make sense in a way to bring in an elite edge. Jalen Carter reminds me so much of Aaron Donald. And it would make zero sense for us to give up a generational player like that.
Now, to you at least, this is kind of ringing, at least in my bells, potentially an AJ Brown sort of deal. To you at least, does this feel like an AJ Brown situation if we get him?
With Max, you're saying?
Yeah.
When AJ came here, you're saying, like, his arrival?
Yeah. Well, do you think it has the potential to turn into an AJ situation again? Like the cryptic tweets, the
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of
I mean, look, you look at what these, and I said this when AJ came here, you look at what these guys do, and history repeats itself. Like, what they're doing right now is probably going to happen again at some point with their current team. Like, everything that just happened with the Eagles, Patriots fans, beware. That's going to be you guys in a couple of years. So, yeah, I would beware if I was an Eagles player and fan and the organization of that happening with Max Crosby. That's why it's not worth it for me to give up Jalen. I would keep Jalen Carter. You have him on the other side of the ball. He understands his duty. He understands his assignment. And at this point, as far as character goes, you've already given up and sacrificed so much for his character at this point with everything off the field that's gone on with him. You're pretty much this far deep in. I don't know why you wouldn't keep him with everything that you've given up to get here.
Would you give up Nakobe Dean?
Yeah, for Max Crosby?
Yeah.
Oh, all day. No disrespect to Nakobe. I think that there's a lot of players that I would not that I would give up for Max Crosby on that. Defense. I know Jalen Carter. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Maybe Coop, maybe Quignon. Other than those three, everybody else I would trade for Max Crosby straight up. Have them. Take them. Yeah. You want somebody else in a bag of chips? Hell, I might even throw that in there for Max Crosby. You know what I mean? Like, it's that He's that worth it. But Jalen Carter, that might have been Howie's best move ever. That or the new number 11 could be a really good move in Jahad Campbell. Like, you look at where these guys were prospect wise, they are both top 10 players. Jalen Carter was top 5, maybe even top 3. And then Howie drafted him at 10, Jahad Campbell at damn near 30, and Jahad Campbell's a top 10 prospect. So I really think it's going to be, yeah, so Jahad maybe would be in there too, but hell, I would even trade Jahad Campbell probably for Max Crosby. The value of having a good edge rusher is so important, and coupling like just thinking about Max Crosby next to JC, that would be unstoppable. Jalen Carter and Max Crosby, and I feel like their personalities would actually click pretty well. Like, I feel like they would bounce off each other well, hype each other up. Iron sharpens iron.
Don't forget about Grenard too, bro.
Yeah, Jonathan Grenard, great point.
Yeah. Oh man, that line would just be ridiculous. I'll put it this way. You might think I'm nuts, but there are teams in the NFC East that genuinely scare me this year. The Giants being one. I know it's crazy. The Giants to me scare me this year with a revitalized offense, with Jackson Dart healthy, with Scannaboo healthy, with Carball healthy. The Eagles, I was about to say the Phillies. The Eagles need wreckers at that defensive line. And I mean, right now, you have it with Carter, you have it with Grenard. But I feel like to really get over the hump, and you've got some really tough teams in the NFC. The Niners, they're going to be a pain in the butt again. The Cowboys, they're going to be, in my opinion, a pain in the butt again. I mean, hell, that defense is incredible. So, I mean, to me, yeah, the Eagles, they had a great draft outside of Mekhi. I would say they had an A draft. So just to take that extra step to become obvious Super Bowl Super Bowl contenders, I feel like you got to take that spot. You got to take that chance. We'll see. Howie's a wizard. He's always working, and we'll see what is in store for us there. Now, speaking of in store, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but to you, the Phillies right now, we'll just get you an update on the Phillies real quick in Game 1 against the New York Mets with Aaron Nola pitching. Aaron Nola did what Aaron Nola typically does best. He let up another run. It's 3-1 Mets, unfortunately. So with all this in mind, the hitting not doing the hitting thing that they're supposed to do, the pitching not pitching, what do you think the Phillies' biggest need is?
They have a lot. That's the thing, right? Like, there could be a lot of pieces that they could say are a need for the Phillies. I think you could argue that they could still use some more depth at outfield. I think that you could argue that they certainly need some help pitching-wise. If they want to go out and maybe get another starter, that's up to them. They definitely need some more middle-of-the-rotation depth, right? Like guys that can come in the 6th and 7th, I guess relievers, what you would call that. Yeah. And probably, I mean, maybe another depth closer when it hurt too, because you can't always put it on Duran. Yes, I think 75, 80% of the time you can, but you need to give Duran some help sometimes too to stay himself. So if it was up to me, I would say, like, the main thing for me is you need to find a bat. I don't care if the guy fucking sells, sunflower seeds. That's just how I feel about this team. I don't care if he sells sunflower seeds in the stands. If he can hit the dang baseball, put him out there. Like, that's where this team is at right now. It is so up and down, where one day they'll be clicking along. They'll get a sweep in a series. And then they'll have 2 days like this in a row where it's yesterday and then today. And it's embarrassing. And yeah, they may put up 4 runs, but baseball's such a mental sport. And you had Andy Painter up earlier, which, speaking on him, I wonder how much of it is manager change with Andy. Like, is he uncomfortable with Don Mattingly to the point where he wasn't comfortable with Rob Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love Rob Thompson, but Rob wasn't working anymore. Everybody knows that. So at the end of the day, with Don Mattingly, it's like, okay, I don't know. I think that there's something up with Andrew Painter and Don where he doesn't play like himself, and he's afraid, I think, that Don Mattingly, how do I want to put it? Like, when he goes out there and makes a mistake, I think he thinks Don Mattingly's mad at him, and then it's like a chain reaction and chain effect where his confidence is shot then, and then it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
So I feel kind of bad for Andrew Painter in the situation that he's in, but at the same time, like, this is the MLB. I don't feel bad for you either because you got to get it together or get out of the way.
Yeah. I feel like he wasn't ready, to be completely honest with you. I thought that Andrew Painter was not ready when he was rumored in spring training to basically automatically make the team. I mean, crap, he had a 5 ERA in AAA, a 5 ERA, and everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's automatically going to make the rotation." Yes, I understand that Taiwan Walker was not great. Friday calls him T-Walk pants for a reason. Mick Abel, though, like, what was still, in my opinion, he had potential. So I feel like it was a mistake for Dave Dombrowski. One of many mistakes, I may add, but one of many mistakes of letting Painter go. Yes, we got Duran in return, which, to be fair, I would trade for Duran in any universe ever. Johan Duran is going to be one of the greatest Phillies closers of all time, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. But I don't know if I would have traded with Mick Abel. Mick Abel is like your perfect right now. He's like your perfect 5-starter. And I mean, this kind of screws the Phillies into needing to get a starter. And there are good options out there, like Sonny Gray, like Nate Eovaldi. But those guys are going to eat up your farm system for the real thing that you need, which is hitting. Your right-handed bats are really bad. JT is bad. Alex Bohm has been bad. Adolis Garcia was not worth the contract. Dombrowski, man, he is honestly, he's worse than Morey. I'll say it. He's worse than
Wow.
Daryl Morey.
So
And it's
that
not
was
close.
the question that somebody asked last night on the pod, which I think is such a great question. I think it was Max McGee asked us. Really great question. Is Morey or Dombrowski worse? And you're going to say Dombrowski's worse than Morey? I would agree with that.
Yes.
I would agree.
At least with him, he had the wherewithal to bring in Tyrese Maxey, the wherewithal to bring in a guy like Paul George, who was a much better replacement than James Harden. Listen, Paul George had its moments, like the suspension that was bad, but he at least had the wherewithal to do that, to let Harden go. That was, I gotta give him props for that. But Dombrowski, man, he just has killed this farm system. He's brought in mid after mid after mid at the deadline. And where has that gotten us? A lower spot in the playoffs every single year. And yes, you can talk about the NBA playoffs all you want and how the Sixers don't get it done. But they run into the Celtics every freaking year. Yes, they beat the Celtics this year, but then they run into the Knicks. Like, this East is loaded. You're losing to teams like the Diamondbacks, bro. The Diamondbacks. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that they need to fix because it feels like just when we get our confidence back in this team, just when we're like, hey, I'm excited. Like, that was how I felt tonight for this Mets series. I was like, you know what? I'm really excited to watch the Phillies tonight. I might even put down a bet. Thank God I didn't. I did not put down a bet tonight. Thank God. But I was like feeling this morning in a good mood. I'm like, Phillies Mets. This is going to be a good series. Way to let us down, boys. Way to let us down. And I know the game isn't over, right? Like, it's a long game, but the way that they started out this game is so disappointing, so frustrating, because they're not playing like themselves. I mean, it's already 3-1. At least they just no. Fuck. Sorry. The Mets just scored again in the top of the third. So the Mets put up 2 runs in the first inning. Phillies did match them and put up a run. So that's good that they at least showed up there. But then 3-1. So this is going to be a gritty series. I can already tell. But the Phillies are a far better baseball team on paper and record-wise than the horrible, wicked, wretched New York Mets. Just makes me sick to my stomach saying that. So, yeah, I mean, and they're also in second place right now in the NL East. They're 6.5 games back behind Atlanta. I really, really would like to see this team click along. And also about Adolis.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's that big of a loss. I really don't.
Yeah.
I like Adolis a lot. But Adolis, look, guys, it's mid-June now. It's almost July's less than 2 weeks away. You are what you are at this point in the season, right? Like, here's a name for you, Phillies fans. All right, get ready. If you don't want to hear it, it's like a, how do I want to put it? Spoiler alert, this one's going to sting a little bit. Whit Merrifield, or as we used to call him, it rhymes with Whit. You guys can put the 2 and 2 together. I've already cursed and hit my limit enough on this show, so I won't do it again. But my point is, like, we knew what Whit was, that word that rhymes with it, by June and July, right? Like, we were like, okay, this guy's not good. He needs to be off this team. And I'm pretty sure he got DFA'd, I think it was July, if not June, of last season or 2 seasons ago. So, same thing with Adolis. We know what he is. Like, he wasn't that guy. He wasn't horrible. He had a couple good moments. But overall, he was not that guy. He wasn't that game changer that the Phillies really needed. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's a good thing a guy got injured. I'm just saying it's not as big of a loss as I feel like some of these Phillies fans are making it out to be. All respect to Adolis Garcia, but it doesn't change the trajectory of this postseason for me. And it doesn't change the expectations I have for this team. So to me, it's like, okay, cool, that sucks, but it's like, okay, we lost a depth piece. That's how I really look at Adolis and how I've looked at him when he came here.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, right, the Phillies have ignored the outfield for years. You brought up Whit Merrifield. I'll give you another name that will make your ears bleed. Max Kepler.
Oh,
Nick
yeah, that one
Castellanos.
hurts.
Like, the Phillies, for the longest time, have just ignored the corner outfield. And it's not even right. It's not even just right field. It's right and left field. You could easily, in my opinion, put Bryce in the outfield, in right field. He used to be a right fielder. And then stick some power hitter at first base, something we haven't had since Rhys Hoskins. But they're not going to do that. They're going to act like they care and grab some $10 million outfielder who gets DFA'd in 6 months. It is infuriating because you have a team full of $300 million players that have shown at times, a lot of times not so much, obviously, but a lot of times have shown that they can get it done in the playoffs. Bryce Harper, the swing of his life. Castellanos, I even just put up a video of the Phillies and Mets best rivalry moments, and Castellanos was right in the middle there with a walk-off hit in Game 2 of the NLDS in 2024. So he was right there. He had his moments. You've got Bryson Stott, who hit a bomb that was probably one of the loudest moments I've ever heard at Citizens Bank Park against the Miami Marlins in the wild card in 23, I think it was. So the Phillies have had these moments where they have shown potential. They just need, and it's just like the Sixers, really. They need the they need the depth. They need the extra oomph. And this outfield has not been it. Justin Crawford is nice. He gets on base. Well, not much, but when he gets on base, he steals bags. This outfield just has not been that spark that we need.
Yeah, I've not been impressed. Like Marsh has actually been the one bright spot, but I still am not content with just Marshy back there. Like if you would have told me that the one guy in our outfield this year would have been Brandon Marsh, who like would be the all-star, I would have been like bullshit. You know what I mean? Like there you go. I almost slipped up again. I would have been like, no way. Like no way, Brandon Marsh. Like I would have started cracking BMU jokes left and right. But shout out to Brandon Marsh because he is that guy. What's going on, Todd? What's going on, Steve? Great to see both you guys in here. Thanks for joining up. But yeah, I did not think that Brandon Marsh would be that one guy that's like really impressive. Crawford, yeah, he has his days, but Crawford's still young, you know, crawl dog. He's still a baby, you know, so you're not going to be enough with them. Bring in somebody who's a high caliber outfielder with a great bat and like a veteran. I want a veteran outfielder. That's what I want. I want a veteran outfielder with playoff experience that understands how to swing the bat in crucial moments. That's what this team is lacking. It's lacked it year after year after year. And you know what's a shame? That description that I just said, you know who would have honestly been perfect this offseason? Rhys Hoskins.
Yep. Yeah. 100,000%. Which is why
I mean, he's not an outfielder, but they could have transitioned Bryce to the outfield, which I believe Bryce said that he would do whatever was best for the team. Not to interrupt you, just wanted to say.
No. You're good. Well, it's why I think the Phillies need a guy like Christian Walker, the first baseman for the Houston Astros, having a career year, OPS over the roof, not the best average, about 250 last time I checked, but he has great defense at first base. And Bryce Harper has said that he'd be willing to move to the outfield for a power hitting right-handed first baseman. And you're right, we haven't had that since Rhys Hoskins. We haven't. And you can't convince me that Bryce Harper would still not be elite in right field, right?
Yeah. I think Bryce Harper anywhere on a baseball field is going to find a way to make plays. It's in his DNA. It's in his blood. Right now, Ancestry.com is talking. Look, I'm about to go crazy on you guys. We're going to talk about UFOs and aliens on here right now. You ever do that before? Get ready. They're talking about hybrid DNA and finding people that are aliens that don't even know that they're aliens. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's an alien. His name's Bryce freaking Harper, and he's been an alien, but he knows he's an alien. He's a baseball alien. That's what he does. You could put him anywhere on a baseball field, and he's gonna find a way to make plays. Like that dude eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball. Probably has Cracker Jacks in a bowl with milk for breakfast. Like that's how he is. So I do worry a little bit about his age. I see where the concern would be from some fans, but I do agree with you, Jesse. I think he would be elite in the outfield. And whether it be bringing, a first baseman, whether it be bringing an outfielder, whether it be bringing maybe a depth piece and looking at putting Kyle Schwarber somewhere and moving Bryce back out to the outfield and putting maybe Kyle in the infield, that would be crazy. But they have a lot of different things that they could consider doing. They need to figure out what is the best way that we can consistently put up 5 to 6, maybe even 7 if we get lucky runs every single night. Because if you can do that more times than over, I think they're going to be okay. But where they're at right now, I mean, and especially the way that they go cold when they go cold. Mm-mm. You're muted still. You're muted. Sorry.
Nope, you're good. It's all good. Yeah, you saw in Arizona, scrappy team beat you in 23. Mets, scrappy team, they beat you. Remember, Sean Manaea and his stupid freaking sidearm beat you in 24. The Dodgers, we tried a sneaky play with Castellanos and stop bunting, literally bunting in a playoff game with a chance to take the lead. I was there at that game oh my god, it was either game 1 or 2. That was the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in my life. The Phillies don't know how to do fundamental baseball, the little things. That's the other thing. It's beyond Dave. It really is. It's beyond Dave. It's beyond Kevin. It's beyond even Rob or Don. It goes into the fundamental everyday decisions that are made from the start to the top. And you talk about, Andrew Painter. Again, I don't think this is a Dave problem. I don't think this is a Don problem or a Rob problem or a Caleb Cotham problem. I think this is organizational malpractice. And it's the same thing with the hitting strategy. It's been home run or bust for years, and they haven't changed it regardless of who they bring in, because there's more that goes into hitting than just Kevin Long. There just is. There's guys behind him. They don't just talk to K Long. They talk to the assistant manager, the assistant of the assistant. They talk to all these guys in the offseason. They have all these training programs that they go to down in Florida. That it's a mental thing, but there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been a problem for years. I think you summed that up beautifully. Where this isn't a one size fits all problem too with the Phillies. They need to really hope that they can get a World Series trophy in the next few years. Because if they don't, it's kind of like a blow it all up and find out what's going to happen after that. They're not in a good spot. Love being a Phillies fan, really do, but they are not in a good spot especially this year. Like if they don't honestly win the World Series this year, I know that's so much pressure to say and to put on them, but it's really the truth. If they don't win the World Series because there's going to be a lockout next year and because of everything that's happened, momentum too, they ain't getting any younger as well. It's not going to be pretty. Like I think Bryce is going to start being a little bit more impatient with the team now that we're starting to approach July. Like he's going to be like, hey, let's start getting it together. Let's start taking this seriously. Because I think that Bryce is going to take this playoff run a lot more seriously and a lot more sentimentally than some of the other ones that he's taken because he's getting older, the lockout's looming, a lot of different things.
Yeah. All right, so we talked Eagles, we talked Phils. It's a little under the radar, but the NBA and the NHL draft are right around the corner. I'm not the biggest NHL guy, although I did put together that Flyers post-game show against the Pittsburgh Penguins the very last second, which was really
I thought it was great.
Yeah, but they're right around the corner, and I mean there's a bunch of names, especially for the Sixers, flying around. I've got one that has been put out there. Chris Kinnick Jr. from Houston, a forward. He is 6'11", 240 from New Orleans. He has about 9.5 points per game, 7.9 rebounds a game, and he hits about 48.5% from field goal range. That's actually really solid in my opinion. But I don't know where the Sixers go this offseason. You've got so many issues with Joel Embiid and Paul George with this cap. Like, listen, Mike Gansey's going to be. He's a good guy. I liked his press conference a lot. But there's so many issues with the Sixers that I don't know if one guy is going to fix it. I remember, and I don't know if you saw this picture, after the Sixers beat the Celtics in 7 games, Elton Brand and Daryl Morey are in the tunnel and they're hugging. Don't you think that hug, that they were both thinking when they were hugging, oh my God, they just saved our jobs? Especially Elton Brand. Daryl Morey, it ended up maybe his job lasted a little bit longer, and then a few days later they kicked him out because he's been a terrible GM. You can talk about the Jerry McCain trade all you want, but there's so many issues with the Sixers that I don't know if one guy or one move would fix that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that one guy necessarily can fix the Sixers. I think that they, the Jared McCain pick is one example, but as a whole, as an organization, it all starts with Josh Harris. And until Josh Harris is willing to sell this team, it's not going to be good because basically everything comes from the top. And Josh Harris is a profit motivated person. He's not a people motivated person. So, and you can be balanced too, right? Like I understand it's business. You can't work for free, but he is so focused on profit to the point of where he doesn't care about his people, which I think that's just detrimental. I don't think it's good for the organization. I don't think it's good for the team. And I really think that they need a new owner. I think he should just pack up his bags, sell the team, because how the hell do you own a team in New Jersey, in Philadelphia, and also in Maryland, being the Commanders, the Sixers, and the Jersey Devils? I understand that that's what Harris Blitzer Entertainment does. That's their MO. They buy sports teams. That's what they like to do. But pick a city, pick one team. It just rubs a lot of fans the wrong way and tells everybody that you're not looking out for the best interests of the team. I feel like the owner of a team should be someone that grew up around the team or someone that is a fan. Jeffrey Lurie's a slight exception. I'll tell you why. He actually wanted to own the Patriots first. A lot of people don't know that. He grew up from the Boston area, was a Patriots fan. Then the opportunity to buy the Philadelphia Eagles came up. He couldn't refuse it. And how about that? His first Super Bowl, he ends up facing the Patriots. Then years later, his second Super Bowl, we end up beating the Patriots. Yeah, pretty wild how that all worked out. So I think obviously now Jeffrey Lurie's established in the area. I don't think he's going anywhere. But what I'm trying to say is that I think a owner of a team should be someone that has the best interest of the team in mind. And Jeffrey Lurie certainly has the Eagles' best interest in mind. Why? Because the Eagles are his only team he owns. So now, by default, he is an Eagles fan. Josh Harris has the Sixers, the Devils, and the Commanders. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that he's able to focus on one of those teams wholeheartedly. Like it's a full-time gig. So he's really given like a half-ass effort to all three of them. And that's just my take. That's the way I look at it. Obviously, he can set up his business a lot different, but I'm pretty fed up with the way that the Sixers are ran, and I don't think this team is going to get any better until they fix that. But I actually got to roll just because it's about 8 o'clock. But I want to thank Jesse for letting me guest on his show. It was an honor being on Philly Sports Pulse. I love being here. Love what Jesse's doing. And if you guys haven't, be sure to like, be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe, because all those little things really help Philly Sports Pulse and the channel a ton.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're actually, I think I'm done here. So thank you all for watching this edition of Philly Sports Pulse. Go like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be posting some, I'll just say, fire content this weekend. 302 Philly Sports Pulse collab. Won't say much, but it's going to be fun. And I can't wait. So thank you all for watching. God bless. And go Birds. Go.